everybody. I'm talking a little bit quietly because my daughter is still sleeping and she might wake up at any point during this video. So if I abruptly stop saying what I need to say, then that means that she probably woke up. I'm sorry that I'm not in class today. My wife had her aunt had passed away last Friday, so we'll be going to the funeral today. That was not a sniffle. She's a very nice aunt, but that was not a sniffle. That's where I am today. If you're watching this video, that means that you should have already done the discovery activity, and I hope that went okay. If not, we will have time to go over all these properties again on block day. But what's next is we're going to go over the Exp property notes. And again, that's why you should be watching this video. So here's the yellow paper that you should have. We'll talk about this part later, multiplying monomials, etc. This part we'll talk about. But let's look at a product of powers. So this was a property that you should have seen in your discovery activity, that when you multiply something over and over and over again, you really just add the exponents up. And this was something that you should have seen as well, that if you're raising a power to a power, you multiply the powers. And again, that discovery activity should have helped out with that regard. So let's do these few problems first and see what's going on here. Let's decrease the width here. Okay, so let's do 5. So because it's the same number on the bottom, then I can just add the exponents. So this one is 5 to the 8th. It doesn't look like 5 to the 8th at all. Okay, for the next one, we have, this one is 2 to the 1st. So 2 to the 1 plus 3 plus 10, which is 2 to the 14th. And I don't actually need the numbers of what that actually is. The whole point here is just to make sure that we are practicing with the skill of adding the exponents when we need to. In this one, we're not going to add the exponents. We're going to multiply the exponents because it's a power to a power. So this one is a power to power. So when we have power to power, we multiply the exponents and we get 3 to the 6, which is some great number. I don't know what it is. Don't really care. For this next one, oh, I love this one. Super tricky. This one doesn't have anything actually that we would need. And what I mean by that is there's no power to a power, and these numbers are not the same. If it was 2 to the 3rd times 2 to the 4th, or 3 to the 3rd times 3 to the 4th, we would be able to add the exponents. But this one I just have to do. 2 to the 3rd is 8. 3 to the 4th, you can use a calculator for this, is 81. And I just need to multiply those together. And if I'm not mistaken, which I probably am, it is 648. Or something that's actually correct. Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. 5. And I won't multiply this one out. But for number 5, it looks like it's going to be equal to, well, I can't multiply the inside part because those numbers are not the same. So what I'm going to have to do instead, let's just hold. What I'm going to have to do instead is 2 to the 3 to the 4. Those exponents. 5 to the 3 to the 4. Interestingly, we could actually do 10 to the 12. But that's going to be a more advanced reason, which you don't have to worry about. 10 to the 12th is going to be 1 with 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, comma, 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 comma. Let's see what number this is. This is 1,000. That's not 1,000, Mr. Lakin. That's silly. That's 100. That's 1,000. That's 1,000,000. $1 billion. $1 trillion. trillion. So this is 1 trillion written out. 10 to the 12th is 1 trillion. And that's all for these little warm-up problems. Okay, now let's get to the notes here. So n squared times n to the 7th. So again, these are the same. So that means I can add the exponent. For the next one, number 2, and that's it, by the way. Nothing else I can do there. Number 2. Doop, doop, doop. Doop, 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 doop. Doop, doop. I have negative 7x squared times negative x to the 4th. Please notice I got rid of the parentheses. Please also note that because the negative was not in the parentheses and being squared, what I mean by that was we did not have this. Okay, very different. That means the 7 is not getting squared, the negative is not getting squared. Similarly with the negative x to the 4th. So let's multiply these. I get negative 7. I got this negative. Let's do colors here. I got this negative and that negative. That becomes a positive. The 7 is still in front. And I have x to the 2 to plus 4. The reason I can multiply, add those exponents up is because I have 2 x's and they are being multiplied. So final answer, I got 7x to the 6. That's 7. Number 3, that's a power to a power, so let's do it. It's y to the power I multiply. Power to power, multiply. Power to the power, multiply. Sorry. And then number 4, let's go and do, let's see here. So this first part is a power to a power, so let's just deal with that part and leave that x to the negative 3rd alone. Alright, so then times x to the negative 3rd. Notice when I'm moving these parentheses, the parentheses are there just to separate groups. They're not really doing anything though. It's really just to make it look pretty. I don't think it looks pretty at all. Alright, so when I do a power to a power, I'm multiplying the exponents. Power to power, multiply! Sorry. I get x to the 10th, and then times x to the negative 3rd. Now I'm multiplying the same number on the bottom, which means I can add the exponent, so I get x to the 10 minus 3, which is x to the 7th. Number 5. Now, look at this. This negative 3 ain't doing nothing. Ain't doing nothing. It's just sitting on the job. So instead, I'm going to work with the inside first, and I got powers to powers. I'm not going to do it this time, guys. Don't worry. So I'm going to do a to the 1 times 3. I'm doing 1 times 3 because I have power to a power, multiply. Sorry, got a little bit out of hand there. And I have b to the 4 times 3. Not going to do it this time, not going to do it this time, not going to do it this time. Not going to, oh my gosh, something's coming over me. Something's coming over me. Power to a power, multiply. Okay, that wasn't me actually, that was my daughter. And then we have negative 3. Let's do the math here. A to the 3rd, b to the 12th. Okay, that's your answer there. And now take a look at this one. Here, the negative 3 is inside. So now I can do it negative 3 to the 3rd, kind of like distributing the 3. A to the 3rd, b to the 4 times 3. I should note that this is 1 times 3 and 1 times 3, because each of those numbers inside, which I still haven't really given a name for yet, and we kind of need one. Each one of these numbers on the inside is raised to the first power, except for the b. So that's why I have a 1 here, and that's why I have a 1 there. Okay, well, negative 3 to the 1 times 3 is negative 3 to the 3, times a to the 3, and then times b to the 12. Let's just do negative 3 to the 3rd. That's going to be negative 27. And again, I use a calculator, aka my brain. But if you weren't sure, you could have multiplied that on the side. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 equals negative 27. Now, if you're wondering why I'm a little bit silly this morning, it's because I'm extremely sleep deprived. See, I can't even speak right now. It's very difficult for me. All right, I think that's all for the first page. Yes. I should have said this earlier, but I really hope you're aware of this, that if I went too fast for any of those problems, you are more than welcome to rewind, look back, and see what's going on. Never, ever, ever, for any class, watch a video just once, especially if you didn't know what was going on. If you knew what was going on and you're able to follow all the way through, that's great. But one advantage of having a lesson on a video is that you can literally pause at any time, rewind, and hear that part again that you may not have heard. Oh, and by the way, I didn't say it, but this property was the power to the power, multiply. Okay, now let's do the tough problems. We got 6 more to go. And I'll probably just do 3 of these. I'll end at 9. So let's go and do this one. We have 1/2 times -3 times j squared, that's not a j, times j squared times k to the -4th times 2 times j to the 1st times k to the 4th. Please note number 1, if an exponent does not have, if a number does not have an exponent, let's write that down because that's a super important one. If a number does not have an oh, come on. If oh, on. Yes. He's angry. He's gonna blow a fuse. Just kidding. So all of this is just one huge multiplication problem. When you see these and really no other operation, there's a minus sign, but it's just a negative one. Well, that just means that this is all one big multiplication problem. So do add some color here. We're going to multiply 1/2 times -3 times -2, keeping numbers with numbers. I'm going to work with j's only, j and j. That's j squared times j to the 1st. I'm going to work with k's. I've got k to the -4 times k to the 4th. Alright, now let's see what we got here. In green, I get these two are 6. -3 times -2 is 6. Half of 6 is 3. In red, because I am multiplying the same numbers, I get to add the exponents. Multiply the same numbers, add the exponents. And then for the purple, again, I'm multiplying the same numbers, so I get to add the exponents. Multiply the same numbers, add the exponents. Now, if you're thinking that my singing is ridiculous, I'd like to see you do a better job singing, because I bet you can't. K to the 0, actually you probably could because you're better than me. K to the 0, now that was in the discovery activity. If you're not sure, we should write that down. Any number to the 0 power is 1. Just 1. Not 1k, not 10, literally the number 1. Which means that this number is going to go with the 3 because numbers go with numbers. And 3 times 1 equals 3. My final answer, I have a 3. My red one is a j to the 3rd, and that's it. There is no purple k's because, again, the k's went bye-bye. I'm going to jot down 2 important notes here because they both came up. 1. 2. together and multiply. Okay, I hear my daughter now, and she sounds very happy. The end of the video. We might just do this as the end of the video. The rest of these problems, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, I'll go over in class. On your block D as well. Please, please, please make sure that you try the homework. Like, do not come into class without any homework done. There should be some problems with the homework that you can try. Thank you for watching.